Hey there everybody, Robert Taylor with Wonderscape Creations, continuing on with another video for the world building series for my top secret, not so secret project. Alright, so last time we went over materials, time before that we went over height maps and creating the level. This time we are going over the, HLODs and world settings for world partition. So let's go ahead and do all that. So there's going to be a lot of sitting and waiting. Just want to get that out of the way. You will be doing a lot of sitting and waiting the first time it builds the HLODs. It takes a great deal of time, but essentially the way that it's going to work is, I'm going to just come right here. We come over here to the world partition stuff, and here, if I show the grid, so as you can see, the pink, we can change it to whatever color we want. That is what is loaded in at all times. No matter how high we go, things will be loaded in. So as you see, we continue moving forward, things continue to load in. Now the same goes for the HLODs, which if you started with an empty open world project or open level project, this is all set up for you. Otherwise, it's something you have to manually set up. So if we uncheck show grid here and check show grid here, we now see what happens. Everything in the white is loaded, everything not will become the HLOD stuff. Now obviously as things progress, that's strange. Okay. Obviously as things progress, we will load in new things, other stuff will unload from behind us, and that's generally how it goes. Now, I've done a whole bunch of testing, weeks worth of testing, to figure out what works best here. And this is very much my preference for my project. So please feel free to mess with these settings to find what works best for you. So as you can see here, I doubled the loading range to 10,000, kept the 1200 there, and then lowered this by deleting 1 0 on the cell size. And that's just a preference for me. You don't have to do that at all. And if we go to show grid preview, it's still very much exactly the same. Obviously, if we wanted to, we could, delete that. Essentially, if it's smaller, that means you're going to get more consistent loading in of squares and unloading of other squares. But they're much smaller payloads, I guess we can call them. Whereas the bigger they are, then when you transition close enough to a square, it's going to load in everything in that square, outside of whatever you do in level stream and data layers and whatnot, which obviously we'll get to later down the line. For me, I don't want it to be 16,000, but I definitely don't want it to be too low. So I'm going to do that. The loading range, I believe I had kept the same, but pish posh on that. I'm going to add a 5 here for myself. This is what I personally would like to have, so it's what I'm personally going to have. Alright, so what I messed with, cell size, I changed the size of. Loading range, I changed the size of. That's in the main layer. Now in HLOD setups, obviously you can add as many more as you want to make it as streamable and as complex as you'd like, and that's certainly something that I will be going into depth personally down the road, but right now I'm just trying to get it to where we can see everything. And obviously we'll take care of the texture string pool over the budget thing permanently down the road. Probably at the end of this episode, actually. So it's just a matter of messing with these to get what's best for your computer, for your budget, for your project, and make sure that everything is good to go there. Once you have this done, we can then go on to building the HLODs. Now, something that I just realized that I didn't talk about that may have a bunch of you guys scrambling is if you opened up your level after a while and there's nothing here. Absolutely nothing is here. World partition. Right here. If it shows down here in the bottom right corner right here of your viewport saying no regions loaded, then you need to go to world partition, which is obviously in Windows, world partition editor. This is the mini-map. Eventually we'll have an actual visual appearance of it. It's just not something we're dealing with at this moment. So make sure you highlight it, right click, load region from selection. Obviously my stuff's already loaded, so now if I unload it, interesting, that's a new one. Alright, so I just had to right click and then hit unload selected regions again, and then it disappeared. So now if I load, it'll take a second. That was confusing because usually this is lit up. So something strange happened, but that's okay. It's now going ahead and loading the regions, and it's going to bring everything back up for us so that everything is ready and good to go. There we go. Everything is back. So now let us go ahead and get the HLODs taken care of. I'm going to uncheck check that. And I am going to go ahead, and you'll need to come up here to build in the top left. Scroll down to build HLODs. Now, if you've built the HLODs, you didn't like them, and you want to completely start from scratch, delete HLODs is the way to go. Otherwise, just hit build HLODs. If you've already built some, it will replace the ones that have been built. And for anything new, it will create new ones. Now, the very first time you do this, it will take a lot longer of a time. But after that, recreating HLODs will be significantly shorter. Obviously, the more things you add, the longer it's going to get. But again, rebuilding will make it shorter. So it's a continual thing. If you want this to not take up a massive amount of time, then you need to make sure that at the end of every single day, as you're winding down, go ahead and build HLODs and go make something to eat, go to the bathroom, something. Then once it's done, then close down your project. So I'm going to go ahead and time-lapse this, and I will be back as soon as the HLODs are built. All right, so it took about an hour and 20 minutes for that to get done. And you'll need to forgive me as I'm having to re-record this part simply because I didn't realize my mic was still off when I finished this. So we're going to go ahead and do this little voiceover for this one time. So as you can see, everything still looks the same, but as soon as we hit the play button, you will see the HLODs showing themselves. And right now I'm pointing out that there's a little of a paint issue, but we're not going to paint over and fix that now, because if you did, we would need to redo the HLODs. Sure, it would only need to update that one, but it would still be unfortunate. So we're going to do that later. And so now here you are able to see, once it loads in, that we can see the desert mountains in the distance. And once the frame rate finally catches up, we will be chilling at around 160, 165. Just remember that I am recording while doing this. so that does hit the performance a bit. So you may be seeing a higher performance gain. So this is indeed everything that we needed to go over this week for everything that I have done for the project. Next week we will be going over PCG. I'll be creating a bunch of graphs that everybody can utilize as they see fit. Kind of create a natural ecosystem and living environment that we can adjust as needed as we add rivers and towns and paths and anything else that we choose to add. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and reach out on my Discord if you have any issues. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video.